Hey, good morning, everybody. Ray Burke with Spray Wash. I hope you are doing very well this morning. Happy Monday. I have got an awesome guest today. I have got Mike Kilgore Jr. Mike is with Ninja and 3i Supply. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ray, how are you doing, man?
I am
So it's
awesome.
good to be a part of anything that you're doing. I want to be a part of it for
Oh,
sure.
you're very nice. You're very kind. I appreciate that. Well, how's Central Florida treating you? Y'all staying dry enough? And
Well, Central Florida, right, over the last couple of days, at least on Thursday and Friday, we just got absolutely deluged on. We've got one big, huge rain coming through, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to get our guys out there and get cleaning today and really get back to doing some sealing. And it's I've been watching the weather, and I know it's affecting you guys too. But that's part of the spray wash life, right?
that it is, and I know, we've been drought here we hadn't had a drop of rain in a month, and then it comes down in buckets. But I guess the rain really kicks y'all's butt more so than with the sealing stuff. That I never really thought of that, but that's something you really need some good dry weather on, isn't it?
Well, that's one of the things that we have to deal with is whether or not how long do we wait until we seal. Our belief is that we like to have a dry surface. There's a lot of people out doing a one day sealing process, and those are very successful. But we like to let that substrate dry out a little bit so that it's ready to absorb as much sealer as possible.
Now sealing, that is like a completely different animal. And full disclosure, I have sealed a little bit. I have used your products and absolutely love it, but it's not something you necessarily want to, and I don't do a lot of it, but I consider myself qualified. But you don't necessarily want to go buy a bucket of sealer and start slinging sand and throwing sealer down if you're not necessarily trained, right?
Well, at 3i Supply, we do a lot of training, and we learn not only from our contractors, but I have multiple people in our local area. And we've talked about this before in different educations. You have different customers, and some of those are DIY customers. Those will not, and will never be your customer.
Right.
But they are a fantastic education source that I use to come in and learn how can I simplify things by teaching these guys how to do their own work. And then I utilize that so that there's so many people out there that want to get into sealing, but they've never touched it, and they're scared to death, just like the homeowner is.
Right.
So I want to
I was laughing because it really helps you hone down on your training. But you take somebody that doesn't know anything about anything, and they won't hire it done, but by God, they're going to do it themselves. I mean, what a perfect person to try and train. I mean, seriously.
Basically, I had a guy in my neighborhood that came up to me, and he had 500,000 pieces of furniture all over his deck. He has brand new pavers, and his screen and his cage was completely green. And he said, I want you to come in and spray this. Well, this guy built his own deck, built his own house, built his own boat, built everything else. The odds that I'm going to run in there and give him a good price and have him pay for it is going to be slim to none. So I just went in and told him, instead, grab yourself a little pump sprayer, put about 20% SH into it, grab you some Gain. Don't use Dawn. Get some Gain, or I can give you a little bit of Secret Agent. Yes, I'm sorry, that's a plug. Get a little bit of Secret Agent and put that inside of there and shake it up and spray it on it and then rinse it off. And the guy got done with me. At the end of the day, this was a customer that wasn't going to be a customer, but became a customer and posted up on all of his Facebook pages saying, you need to go to Ninja Power Soft Wash because this guy doesn't just look out for himself. He looks out for us. And that's important. And so those types of things with the training events that we do down here, we're not just doing a half-day training event where you show up and we throw a little sand and we got some pavers on a plastic bag and we throw down a little bit of sealer and we say, now you're certified.
Right.
We spend an hour and a half just on efflorescence. So we believe in extensive training, and that's so important. And to kind of segue on that just a little bit, and I told you I was going to talk about this, but I didn't tell you what I was going to say, is the reason I've gotten into so big of education and trying to help out so much of the guys that are just starting in it is basically because of you, Ray. And I'm not saying this to be sweet or to get a picture or to get a sticker or anything else like that. But 3 years ago, I went to Ray's roof cleaning class, and I remember showing up. And at that time, I was renting pressure washers from Home Depot. I was renting spinners that they would give to me, and the tips were turned to where I would, clean a swipe about this wide. And I remember at one point after cleaning on a roof, and we used and we were cleaning, and he was showing me the proportioner and all this stuff, and my eyes were lighting up, and it was fantastic. But we were sitting inside of a class, and I remember saying, okay, so 8 gallon a minute machine, where do I get the water from? Where does it come from? And then do I put the proportioner between that? How do I do the booster pump? How do I get electricity? And there was a moment that you could have said, you know what? You can go look on here, or I don't have time. I'm not going to do this. But you didn't. You spent 15 minutes, and I still have the notepad of all the diagrams and everything that I took. And that moment defined who I wanted to be when I started learning how to seal, and I wanted to be able to give back too. So this is just kind of a public thank you for doing what you do and the way in which you do it, and not let just some guy that doesn't know anything be any different than the guys that you have out there that have been cleaning for 15 years.
So really what you're saying is I'm basically the whole reason for your success.
Basically, without any stock ownership, just letting you know.
Well, Mike, I mean, you're too kind, but you were up here as part of a class, and I mean, and it doesn't matter who you are, but you come and take a formal class, and we always laugh at Spray Wash Academy, but people are like, well, if I, how long do I get you? And it's like, well, kind of for the rest of your life, or the rest of your cleaning life. You have a question, you text me. I mean, I literally weekly get Facebook Live, videos from guys who are saying, Ray, help me price out this house, or help me look at this project. How would you attack this? And they're holding the camera up, and I love doing it. I mean, it's part of our stewardship on here where it's what we want to do. I mean, if you're going to do it right.
And that's where, that segue into the Spray Wash Pros is so important, because you have just that little bit of knowledge. You have those things that you get from friends, but I truly believe that you have to, that class was $1,500 plus driving up there. Plus that's also the first time I got to meet Tim. I met him up there. I saw his rig at that point. We cleaned some metal siding of the school.
Oh my gosh, acres of metal roof. I remember that. Yeah.
But I got a chance to meet those guys. But it's so important that I see that you invest into your business. And, we're a member of the Spray Wash Pros. I do it not only because it's such a great resource inside of it, but I want to be a part of anything that you do. It's just the way that I am. And I think that birds of a feather flock together, and you surround yourself around good people and people that make good decisions and people that want to help, you're going to be successful too. So one of the things, a lot of people talk about, what are the different, you see all the different products that's in there. There's no doubt about it that I am a big believer in SureBond products as far as sealing. I believe that we've at 3i Supply have done a pretty good job of trying to get that product onto the map, into the spray wash world, into the pressure washing world there. And when we take on a new product, I know that people that have been around me for a long time have seen me work from one product to another product to another product to these different products. Well, we all grow and we learn, but we have 4 basic beliefs. And I think this is important when we sell a product is that you have to have a product that has the best quality, something that works and something that you have the trust into it. It's so important to make sure you have quality, but also to make sure that you have availability. Because if you have the best product, but you can't get it to the customer, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So the other one is customer support. Do you have the ability to be able to answer all the questions in a timely fashion? And then, of course, price. Now, price is always down on the list, but our belief is that if you fail in one of those, I'm not going to pull the other 2 down because that would be fun. But if you fail in one of those processes, I can't sell your product.
Right.
So, SureBond has been fantastic. They've supported us in everything that we've done. We also sell Uraseal. We also sell all the agent clean stuff, and we're amping up more of those products that we can use to help people in the sealing world. Our focus is to help in sealing.
Right. I would actually probably say, price is probably the least important of those 4 things you mentioned, because one, the price is truly a pass-through issue, to the consumer, because they're hiring a professional. And you're not paying for the sealer as the professional, the end user is paying for the sealer, as the consumer of that good. So now in between, putting it down and buying it and them paying you, you obviously have to, and then you have to be able to sell that. But and another reason why it's so important to get training on this, because we're not talking about, the paver sealing is a little bit different than me going out and cleaning a shingle roof and spending $40 in bleach on a $300 job, right?
Right. Yeah. The margins are completely different. When you start looking at spray and you look at cleaning, you want to try to run with overhead and everything around a 75% margin, I would assume 65 to 75% margin that's in there. When you start adding in $200 buckets of sealer and you start looking at the trips and the sand and the labor that's involved with that, you're running around that 50 to 55, 45% margin. And that's why when we talk about these prices, I spend a lot of time carefully diagramming and understanding what I want to sell these prices for, or sell these products for. When you have someone that calls up and says, hey, I'm buying 2 buckets, can you take $5 off? Well, that bucket is going to generate you $1,000. That $5 on $1,000 is minute compared to the $5 out of the margin of the bucket that I just sold. It could be 25% of my profit. It could be 50% of my profit. So when you start looking at negotiating $5 or $10 with a vendor, and then you look at the profit margins that you're going to say, well, if I buy 50 buckets, but you made $50,000 and saved $40. But that
I'm dying here because I just got to break in there and see it, because this is going to be the same contractor that's going to sit there and bitch about the consumer. And we all go to these forums and say, oh my God, I charged him $280, and that jerk wanted me to do it for $275. I can't believe he had the audacity to do that. But then
and I had this conversation with someone else, and what's amazing to me is that you have all these new opportunities out there to save a lot of money. You have these new things that are out there, but I don't know if most people understand this, and I know people understand it with you, but I have a fantastic wife.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
I have a house. I have cars. I have to pay my bills too. And even though I'm a vendor, I still have to pay my bills. And when my margins are so short on things, I have to provide something that gives people value, which is as much education and being available with them. I mean, all weekend long, I was on the phone, like you said, live videos, pictures coming in. Hey, what do I do here? What do I do there? If I don't provide that value that's there, I'm no different than the Amazons in the world. I'm no different than just direct marketing that's out there.
I told a great story the other day of I was out of my preferred rust remover, and I went to Ace Hardware, where, you know, you think the guy roaming up and down the paint / chemical aisle would be an expert. I mean, and God bless him, you know, I know he tried, but he handed me a bottle and I said, I need this. And they were out of that. He handed me a bottle of Osphos and said, here, it says this removes rust. Had I poured that Osphos onto a rust stain, it would have immediately turned it black, changed the chemical composition of that rust, and bound it in there, and it would never have removed. I mean, recoating the surface would have been the only thing. So, you know, you really got to trust where you get your, I mean, good information is priceless. So is bad information.
Yes, we're redoing our pool. And yesterday we're getting ready to re-marcite the pool. The guy comes in and says, you know, hey, I can repave your pavers and everything else like that. Of course, my wife is sitting there looking at me, knowing what's getting ready to happen. And I said, well, what kind of pavers are you going to use? Oh, we're going to use the thin set pavers, which are horrible because it's very difficult for them to dry out, and the moisture and the mold, the mildew. But I let that go. But at the end, she knew it was coming. And I was like, so when you get done with everything, can you seal our patio? And he goes, oh, you know, you can just go up to Sherman-Williams, and for like $150, you can just get a bucket and just spray it down, and you're all good. And my wife audibly went, and the guy looked at her, and I said, okay, let me tell you, this is something I need to tell you. I own Easy Nano Seal Ninja Power Soft Wash, and that's what I do is I seal pavers. And I had an opportunity at that point to educate him about what sealing was all about. I now have a meeting with the owner of that company that came to me 2 days later and said, we want you to seal all of our jobs.
Very nice. Very nice.
So finding somebody that may not know as much and finding somebody that is new, you'd be surprised how those people can become opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that was a big opportunity for us. So our statement, I made a video last week that talked about how we're upping our service, how we want to be super available for everybody, because we did a poll, and the number one thing that people checked off was the availability of someone to answer pressing questions. So we put our phone number out there. We put our Facebook. People have my cell phone number. And I just want to be that person that when you think about sealing and you have those questions and you're concerned and you don't know where you want to go to it, I want to at least be able to be the person to help you. Now, I'm not saying I know all the answers, not at all. There's a lot of things out there. There's cats out there that have been sealing for longer than I would even been in existence. But I think we can be a really good, helpful source for them.
You said earlier when we were talking about products, you've changed products and you've changed ways of doing it. I mean, and this is no disrespect to anybody who's been doing stuff a long time, a certain way. But I mean, I've washed, hundreds of thousands of dollars of roofs by making a 50% batch mix in a tank. And, putting in the Dawn or a pump up sprayer, and stuff like that. I mean, for 5 years, I mean, I was doing stuff like that, but technology changes, products change. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I sprayed a roof at more than like about a 35% or so, or 3.5, because, we have much more effective ways of spraying. We have much more effective spray techniques now. Stuff changes. So sometimes you always have to be innovating. I mean, if I'd have sat there and looked at Tim and said, oh, this proportioner thing, yeah, that's a cute fad, I'm sure that's going to work out well for you, and had never, gotten he and Paul together, I mean, eventually maybe somebody else would have come up with it. But, sometimes you look at innovation and say, gosh, yeah, this is incredible, and get out of your own way and let the future take over, and not try to stifle it,
Yeah, absolutely. And I bought the proportioner, and I'm not going to lie, there was a period of time that I ordered and tried to make my own proportioner. Mm-hmm. Now, look, our company is a licensed general contractor for the state of Florida. I'm actually licensed to be able to build 6-story hotels. I couldn't build a doghouse if you tried to, right? Even if it came with the instructions, the woods, and it snapped together. That's not my thing, right? But I tried to build the proportioner, and when I first ran it, it ran great. Oh, it was sucking chemical like crazy. Then there was leaks, and there was problems, and there was stuff like that. It's like when I tell people, when you sand, you in your dry sanding, you jab sand, but everything in your body, everything in your mind is going to tell you to just rake that sand out, bulldoze that across. But the problem with that is it creates all kinds of valleys and gaps. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the same thing is about the proportioner is that, hey, $1,200, good Lord, that's a ton of money. Mm-hmm. Everything about your body is going to say, hey, let's build our own, let's save the money. And I can tell you, just like in the sealing world, I've seen new sealers come, I've seen new sealers go. I've been a part of new sealers that have come and part of new sealers that have gone. Some that have been successful, some that have been unsuccessful. You don't want to work with someone that was 100% successful from the beginning to the end. You need some hard knocks along the way.
Yeah.
And I have seen how some of these sealers that are being put down, and I know that in 4 to 5 months, there's going to be issues in certain areas. And that's the same thing with the proportioners. When you start building all these different knockoffs and things, some people have great success.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of people out there that aren't going to have that success, and you get the value out of what you pay.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. It is, and hey, the guys who innovate and want to build your own, more power to you. If you get it to work, bravo. I mean, because there's certainly nobody has a lock on innovation in this industry. And I mean, none of my comments are ever meant to say, oh, well, somebody's already built that. You can't build that. By all means. I mean, everybody should innovate, absolutely as much as possible, because it makes it's wonderful. That's how things, like I said, if nobody had innovated, you wouldn't have found different sealers and different sands and different techniques and all that. Innovation is our friend in this industry.
And there's so much, and people ask me all the time, why can't I get Easy Nano Seal? And I wanted to just explain that real quick. Is because when I looked at, and I was looking at those 4 core beliefs where I talked about quality, availability, support, and price. When I looked at and yes, this is a small little plug here of the Surebond 4000. That's right here. It's a water-based sealer that's there for concrete. The reason that
works awesome, by the way. So
you got a chance to use some of it there.
And not only did I get a chance to use it, but the people that I used it for I didn't have a chance to tell you this, were extremely impressed and want to talk about doing something all over the whole area, which is several hundred buildings, to stop the precast from stop the concrete from slapping up on the windows on the precast on there. Thinking that would help that, and the building's not getting as dirty, so it could wind up being pretty big.
Well, yeah. I remember that conversation, and there may have been a part that I was really excited, and that's something exciting to be a part of. Right. It's a great product. It's a fantastic product. It works. It works the way it's supposed to work. Yes, I had videos up there that talked about Easy Nano Seal, this and that. I was making Easy Nano Seal. As a matter of fact, I was making Easy Nano Seal with this board. I was stirring it. Right? That's how I made Easy Nano Seal when I first started. So when I found Pure Bond and I found this 4000 that was there, it was a chemical composition that when I took a look at it, I went, wow, this is the new age. Am I going to continue to keep selling color screen TVs or black and white TVs when now there's the new curved 4K OLED, ULHMED, TV that's out there? And so the 4000 is what we moved into because it matched all four of our qualities is that it had the quality, the availability, 3 warehouses that we can sell out of it, the customer support, as well as a good price. I want to spend my time doing education and selling and supporting customers, not mixing up sealer all afternoon.
Right.
So
you're taking a team member out, and absolutely.
So
I mean, everything you wind up doing has a little, a labor cost at it, and you make it yourself. Now you're a production facility, and what a nightmare that becomes.
I can't even keep O-rings changed in my stuff as well as I should, much less have some big vat that I'm mixing these solvents and water bases and silicones and siloxanes into it. So I understand that I learned what my abilities, my long-term and my short-term are, and what it is support and education. And that's what I really want to help out with, and selling these products to customers and having good quality products. So
absolutely,
Ray, you're a blessing to everyone.
Mike, I think you are too, buddy. I really do. And I've got my cruise here in the morning at 8:35, so I need to sign off here. Anything else we need to hit before we roll out?
I just think that if you get a chance, and everybody wants to increase their knowledge and increase what they do, and remember, birds of a feather flock together. Ray is the person you want in your flock, and you want to join Spray Wash Pros. It is invaluable.
And also, Mike, when's the next time? When's your next training down there?
We're going to do another training in January, end of January. I've tried to focus this one in for the end of January so that the people that are up north that have closed down get a chance to come down and experience a little bit of Florida weather. Anybody that's taken any of my events realize that they are going to leave probably 15 pounds heavier than what they came, because we're going to eat, we're going to learn, and we're going to do hands-on training. So So we'll be announcing all that out, but as I said, end of January is where we're going to be crushing it.
Okay, great. Well, I am sure we will be in contact many, many times before then. You going to the huge convention?
I'm planning on it, no doubt about it. I plan to be there, and we'll do a couple of bear hugs and see a lot of people that's there. Awesome, so. Buddy.
Well, hey, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate it, and thanks, I'm sure we will talk real soon, my friend.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thanks, Ray.
Hey, wash on, buddy. See ya.
See ya. Are you done?
Yes.